maybe I can take you through at a high level how the company makes money.
Before you do that, what's the single largest business unit of this thing?
It is primarily a internet company that makes internet in space.
So this is like if Comcast were to like have a better marketing person and say that they're a space Comcast.
Kind of, but not really, because it is pretty wild that you can take one of these like iPad-sized panels and go anywhere. So I went on a safari with a Starlink and was able to use it to help close the parts stack deal. That's when it was happening. So I'm walking around in middle of nowhere, Botswana, more than 6 hours from any airport, a puddle jumper flight away, and I'm able to get internet connectivity. So it's even more extreme than just normal cable.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, these things, they're not that big.
A few moments later.
So I have some cords around it, but this is like the size of it.
Oh, so that's like this, yeah, size of a laptop or something.
It's a little smaller than a laptop, but bigger than an iPad. And this is the mini, by the way. You can get a larger one that's a little more reliable. What was kind of frustrating, though, it's like magic, so it's hard to be angry at it. The connectivity was different, like in the afternoon than it was in the morning, based on the area that Earth is turning and the satellites. So the week we were there, it was way better connectivity where I wouldn't lose like the connection when I was typing or on a call or something in the morning. 3 to 5 was like a total dead zone. So it's not as reliable as just Comcast, but I mean, there wasn't even running water where it was.
I remember doing a podcast with someone who was like on his boat in the middle of the ocean, but like on a Starlink connection. And so it is pretty amazing that they can get like pretty fast speeds in remote places, but that reliability makes a big difference. Like if this is something that you could like replace your existing internet service with, or if it's just for special situations that don't have access to internet.
And that's one of the areas that they say is like addressable eventually, like maritime services. It's like instead of using that go-go connect that sucks on United that like you pay $20 for and it never works. Like this could be a better version of it. All of this is possible just because of the launch services. And so that makes about $4 billion a year in revenue. It's the core of everything. And they do more than 100 missions per year, and they use the Falcon 9 rocket. Before SpaceX, it's like if you took a trip in a car, you'd have to basically like blow up the car after, like never use it again. So it's the first reusable rockets, and they use those to put the Starlinks into space.
Eco-friendly. Well, so what I thought was interesting here, I did some Googling around like the commercial launch pricing because they do so many of these launches. How much do you think it would cost to do a commercial launch on a Falcon 9 if you were to do a dedicated launch?
$10 million.
So it's 74 million, few bucks off. The payload capacity, I guess, is 22.8 tons. What I thought was interesting is on their website, so instead of buying a dedicated mission, you can do a ride share. You call it SpaceX ride share program.
The Uber pool of space.
And that price is actually much more affordable. So that is 350 grand for a payload of up to 50 kilograms. And then there's additional pricing for heavier things. And they put a pricing calculator on their website. So I mean, all these SaaS companies that are like afraid to publish their pricing when it's like $1,000 a month. This is $350,000 and they have transparent pricing.
We will put your shit in space and we will tell you today how much it costs.
I think you can like order it online.
So I want to pause here though, because people listen to this podcast, we talk about the railroads all the time. Ben loves a good railroad story and how economies are built on that. Think about it like SpaceX is creating new railroads to space, right? Like Starlink is the first thing that they've been putting up there and monetizing, and it's a cash cow of the business. $10 billion a year in revenue from that. So the launch services itself, infrastructure, $4 billion. And then the satellites, $10 billion a year in subscription revenue. What else could they use that for, right? Is this the new railway to space?
Launch services, is that a profitable business line or is that a loss leader for their satellite business?
That's a loss leader for the satellite business. Now, we should get better visibility, I hope, into the gross profits of this. We talked about in our last podcast how a lot of these AI companies should do something similar to Toast, where it's like, this is the subscription revenue, this is the payments revenue, this is the hardware revenue, and then show which ones are actually profitable or not. It appears that launch services, at least at first glance, is not profitable, but Starlink is very profitable.
The launch services are basically the cost of doing business for the satellite internet company. They do sort of have these dedicated missions or this rideshare program to try to like make that a little bit more efficient, a little bit more profitable. So they're subsidizing it less. But really, like it seems to me like this is a business that was built with this concept of reusable rockets. And but they really found money in selling internet service where it wasn't reliable. First, it's just a means of having the internet business.
I would love to go back to 2002 if they were thinking that this was an industry means to sell internet. I think there are a lot of cool business stories out there about companies that like set out to build this one thing and then they figured out the real monetization engine was something completely different.
It was kind of like Amazon like starts selling books and then they realize they have this like cloud computing capacity they can sell to everyone else and now that's like their business.
That's wild. But yeah, so Starlink has 63% EBITDA margins. It's growing with consumers like myself. I showed you that I have one. Also B2B segments like aviation, maritime, and government.
When I looked to set up my first CRM at Growth Unhinged, I knew I wanted something that was actually AI first. The world has evolved. Most CRMs are still stuck in the 90s. I found Lightfield, the CRM that remembers everything and does the work for you. It joins all my sales calls, reads my emails, and has the full context on every account. At this point, Lightfield knows my deals better than I do. I haven't had to set up a single CRM dashboard. Instead, I simply ask Lightfield questions like, which deals in my pipeline are most likely to close, or who do I need to follow up with today? It even automatically prepares me for meetings with a personalized daily briefing, and setup was quick and surprisingly painless. Lightfield is my sales coach, RevOps analyst, therapist, EA, all in one. See Lightfield for yourself with a 14-day free trial. Connecting data from your inbox takes just 5 minutes, and you can migrate in under an hour. Go to lightfield.app, that's LIGHTFIELD.app, and use code MOSTLYGROWTH to get 3 months free.